There is something I need to tell you, and I believe with everything in me that this moment, right now, as your eyes meet these words, is not an accident, not coincidence, not random scrolling, but a divine appointment that was set before you even woke up this morning. I know you almost kept moving. I know part of you wanted to scroll past, to dismiss this as just another message in the endless stream. But you stopped. Something made you pause. And that pause, my friend, that hesitation, that small tug on your spirit, that matters more than you realize. Can I tell you what I see when I look at your life right now? Not with judgment, never with condemnation, but with the kind of knowing that comes from having sat in the same darkness you are sitting in, from having asked the same questions you are asking. I see you in the quiet hours. I see you lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of everything pressing against your chest, the burdens you carry that no one else can see, the fears that whisper in the silence, the questions that circle your mind like birds that will not land. I see the tears you have cried when no one was watching, the ones you wiped away quickly before anyone could ask if you were okay, the ones that fell onto your pillow in the middle of the night while the world slept, and you wrestled with worries that felt too heavy to carry alone. I see you pretending to be fine, smiling when people ask how you are, saying, "I'm good," with a voice that has learned to lie convincingly, holding it together in public while you are falling apart in private. But here is what I need you to know. Every tear has been seen. Every midnight moment of fear has been witnessed. Every whispered prayer you thought disappeared into silence has been heard. If this is speaking to something deep in your heart, would you write "I hear this" in the comments? Not because I need to know, but because there is power in acknowledgement. There is something that shifts when we stop hiding and start admitting, yes, this is where I am. Yes, I need something to change. Let me tell you about a moment that changed my understanding of how heaven works. 3 years ago, I sat in my car in an empty parking lot at 2 a.m. I had been driving around for hours, unable to go home, unable to face another night of lying awake with anxiety crushing my chest. My business had failed. My marriage was hanging by a thread. The bills were piling up faster than I could count them. And in that dark car, with streetlights casting strange shadows, I whispered a prayer that was more desperation than faith. If you are real, if you see me, I need you to show up, because I have nothing left. I did not hear a voice. I did not see a vision, but I felt something. A warmth that started in my chest and spread through my whole body. Not an answer to all my questions, but a presence, a knowing, deep in my bones, that I was not alone. That was the beginning, not of everything magically working out. It did not. But of learning to recognize a voice that had been speaking all along in the silence I had mistaken for absence. I am telling you this because I want you to know I am not speaking from theory. I am speaking from the trenches, from the midnight hours, from the place where faith and desperation meet and sometimes become the same thing. And from that place, I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The struggle you are in right now is not the end of your story. It is not even the middle. It is the chapter before the breakthrough. You have been praying for things to change. I know you have. You have whispered it in your car, in the shower, in the quiet moments when no one else can hear. And maybe you have started to wonder if anyone is listening. Maybe you have begun to believe that your prayers hit some invisible ceiling and fall back down unanswered. But what if I told you that every single prayer has been heard? Not just heard, but recorded, collected, held in hands that refuse to let them fall. What if the delays you have been experiencing are not denials, but divine timing? What if the waiting you thought was punishment is actually preparation? What if heaven has been setting a stage so magnificent that even your deepest pain will make sense when you see what is about to unfold? I know that might be hard to believe right now, when you are exhausted from trying, from hoping, from holding on. It is difficult to trust that there is purpose in the waiting. But I have learned something that changed everything for me. Divine timing is rarely our timing, but it is always perfect. Write, "I trust the timing" in the comments if something is stirring in you as you read this, because that simple declaration is more powerful than you know. It is you saying to the universe, to the divine presence that sees you, "I am opening my hands. I am releasing my grip on how I thought things should go. I am ready for something new." Now let me tell you what has been happening in the unseen places, while you have been struggling in the visible ones. While you have been fighting to make ends meet, provision has been prepared. While you have been wrestling with relationships that feel broken beyond repair, hearts have been softening. While you have been lying awake wondering if you will ever feel whole again, healing has been making its way toward you through dimensions you cannot see with physical eyes. I am not speaking in metaphors. I am talking about real things, tangible things, things that are about to manifest in your life in ways you will recognize as more than coincidence. There is a woman I know, I will call her Rachel, who found a message like this one 8 months ago. She was 3 days away from losing her apartment. Her savings were gone. Her credit cards were maxed. She had applied for 17 jobs and received 17 rejections. She read these kinds of words with tears streaming down her face, believing and not believing at the same time. That push-pull of desperate hope mixed with pragmatic doubt. She typed in the comments, "I trust the timing," and then closed her laptop, feeling foolish. 2 days later, she received an email. A company she had interviewed with 4 months prior, one that had sent her a rejection letter, was reaching out. Their first choice had fallen through. The position was hers if she still wanted it. The salary? Exactly $3,000 more than what she had been making before. But here's the part that undid her. The start date meant she would receive her first paycheck exactly 1 day before her eviction deadline. Not a week before. Not 2 weeks before. 1 day. When she told me this story, she said, "It is like heaven was showing me. I see you. I have you. Trust the timing." That is what I am telling you today. The breakthrough you need is not coming someday. It is in motion right now. But there is something you need to understand about how this works. There is a gap, a sacred, necessary gap, between when something is released in the spiritual realm and when it becomes visible in your physical world. This gap is where most people lose what was already theirs. In this gap, nothing looks different yet. Your bank account shows the same numbers. The relationship feels just as distant. The situation appears unchanged, and this is when doubt whispers its poison. See, nothing happened. You were foolish to hope. But I am here to tell you, with every fiber of my being, do not trust only what you can see in the gap, because in the invisible realm, everything has already shifted. The doors have already been unlocked. The provision has already been released. The healing has already been set in motion. Your job in the gap is not to see, but to trust. Not to understand, but to remain open. Not to force, but to receive. I remember my own gap. It lasted 6 months after that night in the parking lot. 6 months when nothing visible changed, but everything internal was being transformed. 6 months when I had to choose, every single day, whether to trust the whisper I had heard in my darkness or believe the evidence of my circumstances. And then, on an ordinary Tuesday morning, everything began to shift. An email arrived from someone I had not heard from in 5 years, offering exactly what I needed. A conversation happened that opened a door I did not even know existed. A check came in the mail that made no logical sense, but solved an immediate crisis. One by one, the dominoes began to fall. Not slowly, but with gathering momentum. Within 3 weeks, every area that had felt stuck suddenly started moving. Within 3 months, I could not recognize my life. Not because I had worked harder, not because I had figured it all out, but because I had learned to stay open in the gap, to trust in the unseen, to believe that what was promised was already on its way. That same shift is available to you right now. Not someday, not eventually, now. But you have to participate in your own breakthrough. You have to do something that feels small but is actually monumental. You have to decide to believe before you see. Would you do something for me? Would you hit the like button on this video? Not because it helps some algorithm, though it does, but because it is an act of agreement. It is you saying, yes, I choose to believe. Yes, I am opening myself to receiving. Yes, I am willing to trust even when I cannot yet see. That simple action creates a shift. I have watched it happen in my own life and in the lives of countless others who have walked this path. The moment you move from passive hoping to active participation, something changes in the spiritual atmosphere around you. Now let me speak to the specific burdens you might be carrying. Maybe your struggle is financial. You have worked hard, you have done everything right, but the money keeps slipping through your fingers. Unexpected expenses, lost opportunities, doors that seemed promising but closed in your face. If that is you, I need you to hear this. You are on the edge of a financial breakthrough that has nothing to do with your hustle and everything to do with divine provision meeting your need. I am talking about money showing up from sources that make no natural sense. Debts being forgiven that should not be forgiven. Opportunities appearing that you never applied for. Within this month, you are going to see evidence of what I am declaring. Watch for it. Expect it. Thank heaven for it in advance. Maybe your struggle is relational. Someone you loved walked away, and the absence of them echoes through every room of your life. Or maybe you are still together physically, but the distance between you has grown so vast you might as well be strangers. If that is your pain, listen carefully. You are not destined to live in this relational desert forever. What feels dead is not dead. Restoration is coming, not because you have earned it, but because love is stronger than every wound, and divine grace specializes in resurrecting what we thought was beyond saving. You are going to have conversations you never thought would happen. You are going to feel connection where there was only distance. You are going to watch hearts soften that you thought were hardened forever. Maybe your struggle is purpose. You feel lost, directionless. Like everyone else has a map and you are wandering in fog. You have tried different paths, different pursuits, but nothing feels right. And underneath it all is a gnawing fear that maybe you do not have a purpose, that maybe you are just meant to drift. If that is the ache in your chest, I need to tell you something. Last year, I met a woman who had been searching for her purpose for 15 years. She had changed careers 3 times, moved to 4 different cities, tried everything from corporate life to volunteer work to starting her own business. Nothing stuck. Nothing felt right. She was sitting in a coffee shop, crying into her latte, when something shifted. Not because she found her purpose that day, but because she stopped searching and started being. She stopped trying to discover what she was meant to do and started paying attention to who she already was. Within 2 months, opportunities began appearing that aligned perfectly with gifts she had been using all along but had never valued. The very things that came naturally to her, the things she thought were just her personality, turned out to be the exact combination needed for work she had never even imagined existed. She told me, I was not lost. I was being prepared. Every detour taught me something I needed. Every dead end closed off a path that would have led me away from this moment. That is what I am saying to you. Your purpose has not been lost. It has been waiting. Everything you have been through has been building something in you that the easy path could never create. Very soon, the fog is going to lift. The path is going to become clear. And when it does, you will understand why every other door had to close first. Type in the comments what area of your life most needs breakthrough right now. Be specific. Name it. I need breakthrough in my finances. Or, I need restoration in my marriage. Or, I need clarity about my purpose. There is power in naming what you are actually asking for. Vague faith gets vague results. Specific faith receives specific miracles. While you are typing that, let me tell you what I see coming for you. I see doors opening, not doors you will have to beg to enter, but doors that swing wide at your approach because the one who holds all keys has already turned the lock. I see provision, not just enough to survive, but enough to breathe, enough to give, enough to finally stop living in survival mode and start experiencing what it means to thrive. I see relationships healing, conversations happening that bridge years of silence, forgiveness flowing like water that has been dammed up and suddenly breaks through. I see purpose crystallizing, the fog lifting, a path appearing that feels like coming home to yourself after a long journey in foreign lands. But most of all, I see something else, something even more fundamental than any of these external changes. I see you discovering that you were never alone, that every night you lay awake, a presence sat with you, that every tear you cried, hands collected them, that every moment you felt abandoned, you were being held by a love so vast, so patient, so relentless, that it would move heaven and earth to make sure these words found you today. There is an ancient truth that I have seen proven over and over. Your tears are not wasted. Every single one has been collected, counted, remembered. Not because suffering is good, but because the heart that knows how to break is also the heart that knows how to truly heal. I think about the nights I spent crying into my pillow, feeling like the weight of my circumstances would crush me. I thought those tears were signs of weakness. I thought they meant I was failing, that my faith was not strong enough, that I was not trying hard enough. But I have come to understand something profound. Those tears were watering seeds that were planted in my spirit. Seeds of compassion, of empathy, of a deep knowing that can only come from walking through darkness and finding light on the other side. The person you are becoming through this struggle is someone you could never have become through ease. The depth you are gaining, the wisdom you are accumulating, the strength that is being forged in you. These are treasures that cannot be purchased, only earned through perseverance. Let me tell you about another person. I will call him David. He was a successful businessman to the outside world, but inside, he was crumbling. He had lost his sense of who he was. His marriage was a shell. His children barely spoke to him. The empire he built felt empty. At 4 a.m. one Tuesday, sitting on the edge of his bed, he finally whispered the prayer he had been too proud to pray for 20 years. I do not know who I am anymore. I do not know how to do this. And in that moment of complete surrender, everything began to change. Not the external circumstances at first, those took time, but something inside him shifted. He stopped trying to fix everything with his own strength. He stopped performing. He stopped pretending. Within 6 months, his life looked nothing like it did before. The business he thought defined him faded into the background, but the relationships he thought were dead began to breathe again. His children called. His heart, which had been closed for decades, started to open. He told me later, "I thought losing everything would destroy me, but it saved me." That is what divine love does. It uses the breaking points to create breakthrough points. It uses the endings to make space for new beginnings. It uses the losses to prepare you for what you could not carry before. You have been thinking that your pain disqualifies you, but heaven has been using your pain to prepare you. You have been seeing your wounds as weaknesses, but they are doorways through which light can enter. Now, I want to speak to something specific that might be eating at you. A memory you keep replaying. A moment you cannot forgive yourself for. A choice you made that you wish you could undo. I see you going back to that moment in your mind, punishing yourself over and over, believing that if you just hurt yourself enough, somehow it will make things right. But redemption does not work through self-punishment. Healing does not come through endless guilt. That is not how grace functions. The thing you keep going back to, the moment you cannot let go, the choice that haunts you, it has already been forgiven. You are the only one still holding it. You are the only one still carrying it. I want to tell you about something I witnessed that changed how I understand forgiveness. I was in a small church one Sunday morning. and a woman stood up to share her story. She talked about a mistake she had made 20 years ago, a choice that had cost her dearly, that had hurt people she loved. For 2 decades, she had been carrying the weight of that choice. She had confessed it, apologized for it, made amends where she could, but she could not forgive herself. Every morning she woke up, and the first thought in her mind was that memory. Every night, it was the last thing she replayed before sleep. And then one morning, she woke up, and the thought was not there. Just like that, after 20 years of carrying it, the weight had lifted. She described it as feeling like she had been walking around with a backpack full of stones, and suddenly someone had simply removed it from her shoulders. She said, "I realized that I had been the one keeping myself in prison. The door had been unlocked years ago. I just never tried to walk through it." That is what I am saying to you. The chains you feel, so many of them are ones you are choosing to wear. Not because you are foolish, but because carrying them has become familiar. Because you have learned to define yourself by your failures instead of by grace. But grace is not about deserving. It is about receiving. And right now, in this moment, you are being offered a fresh start, not because you have earned it, but because love does not keep score. Would you share this video with one person? Not everyone on your list, but one specific person whose face appeared in your mind as you read these words. That person who is struggling in silence. That person who needs to hear that they are not alone. When you share this, you become more than a consumer of hope. You become a carrier of it. And there is something that happens when we shift from receiving to giving. It multiplies what we are holding. As you do that, let me tell you what is going to happen in the coming days. You are going to start noticing things. Small things at first. A song with lyrics that speak directly to your situation. A conversation that contains exactly the encouragement you needed. A thought that brings unexpected clarity. These are not random. These are confirmations. Signposts. Evidence that the unseen realm is intersecting with your visible world. Pay attention to these moments. Document them. Write them down. Because you are going to need these reminders on the hard days. And then, somewhere between now and 30 days from now, you are going to experience something unmistakable. Something so clearly beyond coincidence, so perfectly timed, so specifically aligned with what you needed that you will know, without question, that you were seen. For some of you, it will be financial. An unexpected refund, a job offer, a debt forgiven, money from a source you had forgotten about. For others, it will be relational. A text message from someone you had given up on. A conversation that heals years of distance. A softening in someone's heart. For some, it will be internal. A peace that settles over you. A joy that bubbles up from nowhere. A confidence about who you are and where you are going. Whatever form it takes, you will recognize it. And when you do, I want you to come back and testify. Your story will be someone else's hope. Your miracle will be their faith. Before we close this moment together, I want to speak something over you. Not a formal prayer with fancy language, but words from my heart to yours. I speak peace over your anxious mind. I speak rest over your weary body. I speak hope over your discouraged heart. I declare that the season of barely surviving is ending, and the season of truly thriving is beginning. I declare that closed doors are opening, and blocked paths are clearing. I declare breakthrough over your finances, supernatural provision that makes no natural sense, abundance where there was lack. I declare restoration over your relationships, walls coming down, hearts softening, love flowing where there was only distance. I declare healing over your body, cells renewing, strength returning, wholeness manifesting. I declare clarity over your purpose, fog lifting, path appearing, certainty growing about who you are and what you are called to do. And most of all, I declare that you are seen, known, loved, held, that you have never been alone even in your darkest moments, that you never will be alone. This is not wishful thinking. This is not empty promise. This is truth. speaking to the deepest part of you that knows you were made for more than mere survival. That life is not somewhere in the distant future. It is starting now, today, in this moment when you made the choice to stay, to read, to open yourself to possibility. Your breakthrough has begun, not because you have earned it, not because you are perfect, but because you are loved, because you are seen, because grace is not about deserving, it is about receiving. So receive it now. Open your hands. Open your heart. Let go of the need to control or understand everything. Trust that you are being guided, even when you cannot see the full path. Your story is not over. Your best chapters have not been written yet. Your greatest joys are still ahead of you. Everything you have been through was preparation. Everything you have survived was training. Everything you have endured was building in you something that the easy life could never create. You are stronger than you know. You carry more light than you understand. And that light is about to break through in ways that will surprise you, humble you, and remind you that you were never meant to carry this burden alone. Welcome to your breakthrough. Welcome to your new season. Welcome to the life that has been waiting for you to be ready to receive it. It starts now.
Chosen one, there comes a time in your journey when God elevates you not by lifting you onto a throne, but by allowing your presence alone to shake the thrones of the mighty. You may not realize it at first, but there is a divine power working through you, a spiritual authority that does not come from titles, wealth, or recognition. It comes from obedience, humility, and the quiet strength God planted in your soul. When God wants to humble the mighty, He often chooses someone the world least expects, someone overlooked, underestimated, or even rejected. That someone is you. You were not chosen because you were the loudest, the strongest, or the most popular. You were chosen because your heart carries a purity that cannot be bought, and a resilience that cannot be destroyed. The mighty often stand on external power, money, influence, appearance, or status. But you stand on spiritual foundation, and when God is ready to shift the atmosphere, He uses people like you to expose the emptiness of earthly arrogance. These signs will reveal why the mighty become uncomfortable, intimidated, or even humbled by your existence, long before you ever open your mouth. 1. The mighty feel threatened by your silence. Your silence speaks louder than their boasting. You don't need to shout to be heard. Your quiet spirit carries divine weight, a weight that shakes the foundations of those who rely on external noise to feel significant. When you enter a room, you don't enter with fireworks or theatrics. You enter with presence, with a spiritual stillness that cannot be imitated or fabricated. People who are used to dominating spaces with aggression, loudness, or ego suddenly feel an unfamiliar discomfort rising within them. It's not that you are doing anything dramatic or intentional. It's that your inner calm exposes the restlessness inside them. Your silence becomes a mirror they cannot escape. It reflects their insecurity, their fear of being insignificant without the showmanship they depend on. And when God chooses to use you to humble the mighty, He does not need you to make noise. He allows your stillness to carry a message. Your silence becomes a spiritual force field, one that reveals how empty loud authority can be when confronted with genuine inner strength. They feel threatened because they cannot read you, cannot predict you, cannot influence you, and cannot bend your spirit to their expectations. While others raise their voices to prove a point, you carry an authority that requires no volume. Silence, when backed by God's presence, becomes power, and the mighty, who are accustomed to being feared or respected because of their titles or positions, suddenly feel small in front of someone who holds no title yet carries spiritual weight. Your silence humbles them because it reminds them that true power is not noisy. It is steady, grounded, divine, and unshakable. 2. Their confidence shakes when you show up. The mighty may appear bold on the outside, walking with pride, projecting certainty, and maintaining an image of strength. But when God's chosen one walks in, something inside them trembles. Their confidence, which seemed so unbreakable moments earlier, begins to crack beneath the surface. You will see it in small, subtle ways. They begin fumbling over their words, over-explaining themselves, becoming unusually defensive, or suddenly trying too hard to impress people around them. They don't understand why your presence affects them this way, but you do. The anointing you carry is not just spiritual, it is atmospheric. It shifts the energy in the room. It exposes false confidence, artificial dominance, and the insecurities they have hidden behind power, status, titles, or material success. When you show up, the light of God shining through you forces them to confront truths they have avoided, their internal fears, their need for validation, their dependence on position to feel significant. You are not trying to intimidate them. It simply happens because your presence reveals the difference between human-made confidence and God-given assurance. They sense something in you they cannot name: strength without aggression, authority without shouting, influence without trying, power without ego, and that shakes them. They realize, even if they never say it out loud, there is something divine backing you, something they cannot manipulate, something they cannot compete with, something they cannot overshadow. This is why their confidence falters, not because of who you are alone, but because of who is walking with you. 3. They watch you more than they watch themselves. Chosen one. People who consider themselves mighty suddenly become observers in your presence. Individuals who normally command attention, who expect the room to revolve around them, begin shifting their focus toward you without even realizing it. They watch the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you react, the way you carry yourself, and even the way you breathe. They become students in classrooms they didn't plan to attend. And this is not because you are performing for them. It's because the authenticity you live with naturally draws eyes, naturally awakens curiosity, and naturally commands a respect that titles cannot purchase. When God is using you to humble the mighty, He turns your life into a silent sermon. You become a walking lesson, a breathing example, a demonstration of principles that they have never mastered. They are used to authority that comes from external positions, but you carry authority that comes from internal alignment with God. You are a living reminder that true greatness comes from character, integrity, resilience, and divine connection, not from status, not from money, not from social influence. And so they watch you more intently than they watch themselves. They begin comparing their reactions to yours, questioning their own motives, and even adjusting their behavior after seeing how effortlessly you navigate situations that overwhelm others. Your life exposes what they lack: groundedness, peace, truth, direction, and spiritual depth. They study you not because they want to praise you, but because something in you confronts something in them. They don't say it out loud, but internally they recognize that God is using your life as a measuring rod, not to shame them, but to awaken them. 4. They copy you quietly. When God uses you to humble the mighty, something remarkable happens. They begin to imitate you, often without ever admitting it. You may notice subtle shifts around you. Someone starts adopting a habit you naturally maintain, or mirrors the way you approach challenges, organize your life, or carry yourself with calm authority. They attempt to replicate your style, your demeanor, even your decision-making patterns, because your authenticity exposes the superficiality of their authority. The mighty often rely on external trappings, titles, money, influence, or loudness, to maintain their image, but they see in you something they cannot manufacture: real substance, quiet confidence, and an inner power that comes from alignment with God. They want the results you achieve, the respect you command, and the influence you wield, but they are unwilling to walk the same path of discipline, resilience, and spiritual growth that brought you there. Their imitation, though silent, is revealing. They unconsciously acknowledge that your approach works, even when theirs fails. They study you like an unspoken blueprint, hoping to unlock the secret to your success without embracing the integrity and effort that made it possible. But God allows this imitation as a subtle way to humble them. They see excellence and instinctively desire it, yet they remain disconnected from the source that produces it. Your life becomes a mirror that reflects their gaps, insecurities, and dependence on outward power. And through this process they are forced to confront the truth. Real influence cannot be copied, it must be cultivated from the inside out. The mighty may attempt to mirror your actions, but they cannot replicate your spirit, and it is this very realization that humbles them. Every silent act of imitation is a testimony to your authenticity, a signal that God is elevating you in ways they cannot fake or control. 5. They feel small when they realize you can't be bought. Mighty people often assume that loyalty, attention, and influence can be purchased with benefits, gifts, flattery, or opportunities. They are accustomed to people bending, complying, or compromising for personal gain. But when God uses you to humble them, they quickly realize that your principles are untouchable. You operate on a level where your integrity is priceless and cannot be bribed, bargained, or swayed by worldly incentives. Your refusal to compromise on values, even under pressure, challenges their perception of control. They are forced to confront the uncomfortable truth that strength and power are not measured by what can be acquired or manipulated, but by what cannot be bought or corrupted. They see that your influence comes not from external rewards, but from spiritual depth, consistency, and alignment with a higher purpose. And this realization makes them feel small because everything they have relied upon, their status, their leverage, their wealth, cannot penetrate the armor of your integrity. They understand, consciously or subconsciously, that true respect and authority cannot be coerced. It must be earned, cultivated, and sustained from a place of authenticity. God uses your incorruptibility as a divine tool to expose how fragile their influence really is. When they witness your unshakable loyalty to what is right and your inability to be purchased, their pride begins to crumble. Their usual methods of dominance and control fail to operate against someone grounded in righteousness and divine favor. They become aware that no amount of effort, no clever scheme, and no status can undermine the values that guide your life. This awareness is a spiritual humbling, a quiet but profound recognition that God is using you as an instrument to demonstrate the enduring power of incorruptibility. 6. Your wisdom destroys their pride. Wisdom is more than knowledge. It is insight, discernment, and understanding that transcends age, experience, and even formal education. When God uses you to humble the mighty, your words carry an authority that cannot be challenged because they come from a place of divine alignment. Even the most arrogant or self-assured individuals find themselves reconsidering previously unshakable beliefs when confronted with your perspective. Your speech is measured, thoughtful, and purposeful, yet it penetrates deeper than any loud argument or display of intellectual superiority could. They cannot dismiss your wisdom because it is grounded in experience, integrity, and spiritual insight that goes beyond superficial titles or social position. Each time you speak with calm authority, they are forced to face the limitations of their pride. They begin questioning things they once assumed as truths, and they feel a subtle unease as their certainty diminishes. This process is not about you proving yourself or winning an argument. It is about God using your life as a conduit of truth. Your wisdom illuminates what they lack: understanding, humility, and a connection to a higher source of knowledge. Pride, which has often allowed them to dominate and intimidate others, begins to erode because they recognize that real power does not come from showing off or exerting control. It comes from insight, clarity, and alignment with divine principles. Your knowledge humbles them silently as they see that your decisions, your clarity, and your foresight consistently reflect truth. Every interaction becomes a mirror, reflecting the inadequacy of arrogance when faced with genuine wisdom. And in that reflection, they are reminded that titles, wealth, and influence are meaningless without understanding, integrity, and a connection to God. 7. They can't manipulate you. Mighty people are often experts at controlling others. They rely on manipulation, intimidation, guilt, or pressure to bend situations to their favor. They have perfected the art of influencing people through fear, coercion, and strategic flattery, assuming that everyone will respond predictably. But when God is using you to humble them, all of their tactics fail. Every attempt to sway you falls flat, as if an invisible barrier shields your spirit. You are anchored in a foundation that is not of this world, rooted in divine alignment and moral clarity. You see through their strategies long before they are even fully articulated. Their usual methods of control, whether emotional, psychological, or social, are powerless against someone whose strength is derived from God rather than circumstance or ego. This resistance humbles them profoundly because it exposes the illusion of their authority. They realize that their influence is only as strong as the willingness of others to comply, and when they meet someone whose loyalty, decisions, and actions are governed by spiritual discernment, they confront the uncomfortable truth. Their power is limited, fragile, and temporary. God uses your ability to stand firm as a divine lesson, teaching them that true influence is earned through integrity, character, and alignment with higher principles, not through intimidation or manipulation. Every time they try to twist the narrative or exert control over you and fail, their pride diminishes. They are forced to confront the reality that power is not about forcing outcomes. It is about living with a quiet strength that commands respect naturally. Your unwavering stance becomes a testimony that real authority cannot be manufactured. It is cultivated from the inside out, and nothing external can shake it. This is a humbling experience for anyone who has relied on coercion rather than authenticity to assert their dominance. 8. Your favor annoys them. While the mighty expend efforts scrambling for attention, recognition, or opportunity, you find that blessings flow to you effortlessly. Doors open without knocking, support comes without pleading, and opportunities arrive without orchestrating or maneuvering for them. This is the supernatural favor of God at work, and it frustrates those who rely on networks, leverage, and influence to achieve results. The mighty are trained to believe that success is earned through connections, schemes, and exertion, but they see you thriving without any of the struggles or manipulations they expect. Your rise highlights a truth they cannot deny. Divine favor is unearned, unbought, and unstoppable. It works independently of human calculation and reveals a higher law at play, one that cannot be controlled by wealth, status, or intimidation. This supernatural support exposes their reliance on worldly methods and underscores their limitations. They watch in silent frustration as your growth, opportunities, and success appear natural, effortless, and aligned with a higher purpose. Each blessing you receive, each breakthrough, and each moment of recognition reminds them that human control is secondary to divine orchestration. They may try to compete, strategize, or even sabotage, but your favor cannot be hindered. This realization chips away at their pride because it demonstrates the futility of their attempts to control outcomes they cannot influence. God's hand in your life is visible to those who are watching closely, even if they cannot articulate it. The mighty are humbled, not through confrontation, but through the undeniable reality that some forces in life operate beyond manipulation, and you are living proof of that truth. 9. They realize God is with you. This is the ultimate sign, the pinnacle of divine intervention. At some point, even the most self-assured and mighty individuals recognize that something greater than human effort surrounds you. They may not vocalize it, may not even consciously articulate it, but deep inside they feel the presence of God at work through your life. Your resilience, your breakthroughs, your protection, and your spiritual growth all testify to a higher power guiding your steps. They see it in the way challenges are navigated effortlessly, in the way opportunities seem to align perfectly, and in the way your character remains unshakable under pressure. Fighting you becomes a terrifying proposition, because they sense, even if only subconsciously, that opposing you is tantamount to opposing God Himself. This recognition humbles them completely. Titles, money, influence, networks and strategies, once sources of pride and confidence, suddenly pale in comparison to the divine guidance that propels you forward. They are forced to confront the ultimate truth. Human power is transient, fragile, and often hollow without alignment with the Creator. Your life becomes a living testament to God's sovereignty and providence. When they sense that their schemes, influence, and authority are powerless against the hand of God, their pride crumbles. The mighty may bow not to you personally, but to the undeniable truth of God's work manifesting in your life. This realization transforms the dynamic entirely. It is no longer about human comparison or competition. It is about witnessing the supernatural elevation of someone chosen and guided. In that recognition, they are humbled, made to see that divine power surpasses all worldly might, and that God's chosen ones move under protection, favor, and anointing that cannot be contested, imitated, or defeated. Chosen one, if these signs resonated with your spirit, then understand this: God is preparing you not just to rise, but to reveal. Your life is a living testimony that true power comes from above, not from earthly positions. This is the Zillion Mind Channel. If this message reached you at the exact moment you needed it, make sure to subscribe, and as a prophetic act of alignment, type 1111 in the comments section to receive divine blessings, breakthroughs, and spiritual protection. Your elevation has already begun. Walk in it boldly. Thank you for watching. Chosen one, as this year draws to a close, the Spirit of God is moving in ways you may not fully see yet. The battles you fought, the nights you cried, the silent prayers you whispered, none of it was ignored. Heaven has been watching, and the God who saw every tear you shed is now preparing to replace them with joy. Is a prophetic shift taking place in your life? And if your spirit has been feeling a strange peace lately, an unexplainable calm, it's because God is closing the wounds of the past and opening the gates of a new beginning. This message is for those who have walked through seasons of loss, betrayal, disappointment, and hidden suffering. You endured storms silently, you carried weights you never spoke about, and through it all God was shaping you, strengthening you, and maturing you for the door that is now about to open. As this year ends, you are stepping into a divine transition. The tears you cried were seeds, and now harvest is coming. Let me reveal to you 9 signs. God is drying all your tears and preparing a new beginning for you, chosen one. 1. Your spirit feels lighter, and you can't explain why. When God begins to heal you, the very first place He lays His hand is on your spirit, because that is the part of you that carries what your mouth never speaks and what your heart tries to hide. Recently, you may have noticed these sudden waves of peace washing over you, moments that feel strangely calm, almost supernatural, especially considering that your situation hasn't changed. Your challenges haven't vanished, and your responsibilities have not magically disappeared. Yet somehow, the heaviness you used to wake up with has been quietly dissolving. The tears that once fell without warning have slowed. The emotional weight that used to sit on your chest now feels lighter, as if someone has gently lifted a burden you didn't know how to release. This is not random. This is not accidental. This is not just a good day. This is God Himself removing the weight you were never meant to drag with you into the new year. This is Him interrupting the pain you normalized. This is Him loosening the grip of old memories that once dictated how you moved, loved, trusted, and hoped. He is touching places that were bruised, places you never talked about, places that remained tender long after the moment passed. The very atmosphere of your inner world is shifting. Your soul is being refreshed. Your emotional body is being detoxed. Your spiritual posture is being strengthened. And all of this is happening because God knows joy cannot flow where heaviness resides. He knows peace cannot bloom in soil saturated with sorrow. So He begins His healing by cleansing your spirit, because once your spirit is free, your life can follow. If you've been feeling lighter for no logical reason, it's because heaven has begun your restoration long before the new year arrives. 2. Doors you tried to close are finally staying shut. Some of you have spent months, even years, wrestling with relationships you knew were draining you, environments that exhausted you, and cycles you desperately wanted to break but somehow always returned to. You tried to distance yourself. You attempted to emotionally withdraw. You told yourself you were done, but the pull kept dragging you backward, not because you were weak, but because broken soul ties and emotional attachments are spiritual chains, not mental decisions. But now something has shifted. Doors that once swung open effortlessly no longer move. Conversations that once tempted you no longer excite you. People who once had access to your emotions no longer trigger the same reaction. It's as if God Himself placed His hand on those doors and sealed them shut. This is divine intervention. This is God stepping into places where your willpower wavered. This is Him protecting you from what you would have gone back to out of loneliness, fear, habit, or emotional vulnerability. When God closes a door, He does not slam it in anger. He seals it in love. He knows your next chapter cannot coexist with the wounds of your previous seasons. He knows certain people, patterns, and emotional cycles cannot travel with you into the new year because they are incompatible with the healing He is bringing. So He removes the desire, the attachment, the familiar pull. He breaks the spiritual ties you didn't have the strength to uproot on your own. If that chapter no longer calls you the way it once did, it is because heaven has already declared it finished. God is not only closing the door, He is locking it, sealing it, and escorting you forward into restoration. 3. You're losing desire for things that used to distract you. As God dries your tears and begins to heal the broken, hidden parts of you, He also starts removing the very distractions that once numbed your pain or delayed your purpose. Activities, habits, cravings, and temptations that once felt comforting now feel empty. Things you used to run to for escape no longer soothe you. The entertainment that used to consume your time now feels pointless. The people you once used as emotional noise no longer resonate with your spirit. This is not boredom, this is spiritual maturity. This is your soul awakening. This is your discernment sharpening as God recalibrates your appetite for the new season He is guiding you into. When God is preparing you for elevation, He strips away everything that weakens your focus or hinders your growth. He removes cravings for what feeds your flesh but starves your destiny. He silences the noise that causes confusion. He disconnects you from habits that would interfere with the blessings He is about to release. Suddenly, your spirit begins craving stillness, clarity, purity, and alignment. You feel pulled toward purpose, toward discipline, toward inner growth. Even the things you once used as coping mechanisms stop working, because God is teaching you to depend on His presence instead of temporary distractions. This loss of interest is a divine detox, a spiritual cleansing that prepares you for greater responsibility, deeper wisdom, and bigger blessings. If distractions feel dull and meaningless lately, it's because God is refining your spirit and shaping you for the destiny ahead. 4. You're experiencing sudden clarity about your life. This year may have felt like a maze, emotionally heavy, mentally draining, spiritually confusing. You may have battled uncertainty, indecision, or lack of direction, walking through months that felt dark and unclear. But recently, almost unexpectedly, pieces have begun to fall into place. Thoughts are becoming clearer. Ideas that seemed scattered now connect. Questions that haunted you are receiving answers. Even things that once frustrated you suddenly make sense. This clarity is not the result of overthinking or analyzing. It is God illuminating your path as you prepare to step into a new chapter. When God begins drying your tears, He also clears the fog that clouded your judgment. He aligns your mind with His plan. He removes confusion so you can walk confidently into the future He designed. This sudden understanding is spiritual insight, divine wisdom descending quietly into your spirit. What once felt overwhelming now feels achievable. What once felt impossible suddenly feels within reach. You are beginning to see why certain things happened, why certain people left, and why certain doors did not open. God is showing you the bigger picture. He is giving you the mental clarity necessary for the opportunities coming your way, because your next season requires clear vision, strong decisions, and stable confidence. If you've been seeing things more clearly lately, even without trying, it's because God has begun guiding your steps directly. He is preparing your mind for the blessings that are about to unfold. 5. People who hurt you are no longer a source of pain. A powerful sign that God is truly healing you is when the memory of those who wounded you no longer carries the same emotional sting. You may still remember what happened. You may still recall the betrayal, the disappointment, the broken trust, or the harsh words that once pierced your heart. But now, instead of feeling anger rise, instead of feeling sadness choke you, instead of carrying bitterness or confusion, you feel a strange sense of emotional distance. Not numbness, healing, not denial, growth, not coldness, restoration. It is as if God has been gently draining the poison from wounds you didn't know how to close. The memories are still there, but the pain attached to them is dissolving. This is what divine healing looks like. God goes into the emotional places people could not reach. He washes your heart from the inside out. He touches experiences so deeply buried that even you avoided confronting them, and instead of forcing forgiveness, He slowly, lovingly cultivates it in you. What once broke you no longer defines you. What once triggered you no longer controls you. What once made you cry now makes you stronger. You notice that thinking about these people doesn't tighten your chest anymore. You don't replay the offense. You don't imagine revenge. You don't seek closure. You don't need an apology. You simply feel released. This release is not your doing. It is God's. He has been rewiring your emotional responses, restoring your sense of self, and rebalancing the parts of you that were thrown off by hurtful experiences. Forgiveness begins to flow, not because you forced it, but because God softened the soil of your heart. Healing starts revealing itself, not because you pretended to be okay, but because God removed the emotional residue that once overwhelmed you. If the people who hurt you no longer carry the same emotional power over you, it's because God has already begun closing those wounds and preparing you for a future free of emotional bondage. 6. Unexpected blessings have been showing up recently. When heaven begins shifting your season, it often starts subtly with small, unexpected blessings that seem to come out of nowhere. You may have noticed little breakthroughs happening lately. Perhaps someone offered help when you least expected it. Maybe favor came in a situation you didn't even pray about. Maybe a small opportunity opened up. or a financial surprise appeared, or a door cracked open just enough to show you that something is changing. These are not coincidences. These are not random moments of luck. These are early signs of divine alignment, God's gentle reminders that He is moving, even before you see the full picture. Before God opens a major door, He often releases small confirmations to prepare your faith. These little blessings are like spiritual breadcrumbs, signals that you are entering a new season. They whisper, "I'm still with you. I haven't forgotten you. Something bigger is coming." Sometimes the blessings are so small that you almost overlook them, but your spirit notices. Your intuition feels it. Something in you knows these moments carry meaning. And that sense is correct. God is repositioning things around you. He is shifting environments, conversations, and situations in your favor. These unexpected blessings are signs that God has begun orchestrating your next chapter. They show you that what once worked against you is now being turned around for your good. They remind you that heaven is active, not silent. They prepare your heart for the bigger breakthroughs that will require your readiness, your obedience, and your expectancy. If unexpected blessings have been showing up, no matter how small, take them seriously. They are evidence that the spiritual atmosphere around your life is changing. God is aligning your steps, making room for your destiny, and signaling that a major door is preparing to open. 7. Your intuition keeps telling you something new is coming. Chosen ones always feel spiritual transitions before they manifest in the natural. If you've been sensing a strong inner pull lately, a quiet knowing deep within your spirit that something is shifting, something is approaching, something new is about to unfold, trust that feeling. It is not anxiety. It is not imagination. It is not wishful thinking. It is the Holy Spirit preparing you for the next chapter God is ushering you into. This inner awareness is one of the clearest indicators that your season is changing. You may feel restless without knowing why. You may feel excitement building even though nothing external has shifted yet. You may sense the atmosphere around your life growing more intense, more purposeful, more meaningful. You may feel a divine anticipation rising, a spiritual vibration signaling that God is aligning something big on your behalf. For chosen ones, spiritual sensitivity is a gift. You feel what heaven is preparing long before it appears. Your spirit receives announcements your mind hasn't understood yet. This is why you feel the need to prepare, to clean your life, to detach from distractions, to protect your energy, to get ready. This inner prompting is God telling you, get positioned. Something new is on the way. This feeling is not random, it is preparation. It is transition. It is spiritual acceleration. You are stepping out of an old season and into a divine shift. If your intuition keeps whispering that change is near, it's because heaven has already declared a shift over your life. Your spirit hears it. Your soul senses it. Your future is calling you. 8. God is removing people who no longer match your future. Lately, you may have noticed certain people drifting away, conversations ending, connections weakening, or relationships fading without conflict or dramatic closure. It may have felt confusing at first, maybe even painful. But spiritually, it is strategic. God is removing people who no longer align with your destiny. He is clearing your path from influences, energies, and personalities that do not match where He is taking you. Elevation requires separation, and separation often feels uncomfortable, even when it is necessary. God knows the private intentions and unseen motives of every person in your life. He knows who will hinder you, who will slow you down, who will drain you, and who will secretly sabotage your progress. So before He blesses you, He purifies your circle. Before He elevates you, He isolates you. Before He opens new doors, He closes old connections. When God begins drying your tears, He also removes the sources that caused them. People who wounded you, doubted you, limited you, or misused your loyalty. Many times these separations feel like loss, But in reality, they are divine protection. Some people cannot follow you into your next season because they were tied to your old pain, not your new purpose. Some were attached to your brokenness, not your healing. Some loved your struggle but would envy your success. God is not being harsh.